Hey you guys, this is Raphael from ShilohRelics.com. Since I've been doing these videos, I've had more and more people asking about my history and also asking if I had a showroom these days. I don't, and I'm sorry, but the internet and the shows have taken off so much that I just didn't have time, with it just being me, to run a regular storefront as well. But I would like to share with you some of the beginnings of Shiloh Relics, a little story about those, and I apologize if I get a little emotional because this has been my life and I am the luckiest guy in the world to get to do what I have done for the past 25 years. In 1994, I was a senior at Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I had made friends with a guy that has been like my second dad, Larry Hicklin, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm so thankful for Larry because he took a chance on me when nobody else would. I get out of school, and fortunately, when you're young, you're completely stupid. You don't realize that things shouldn't work, but the want to can carry you anywhere you want to go. He knew how bad I wanted to buy and sell Civil War stuff, and he had helped me. He'd loaned me his list of names. I sent out a mail order catalog. It did well. I went to shows and they did well, and I just didn't think it could fail, which looking back was one of the dumbest things ever because there's no reason it should have been such a success. That December, I find out I had fallen in love with a girl named Lori Hood, and I found out in December that I was going to be a dad, and that a few months later Reagan would be here. And I was trying to do business. I was trying to work to make some money coming in. She was an optician, an amazing one. She was the youngest licensed optician in the state of Tennessee history. So proud of the way she was. And that summer, or the spring actually, Larry and I had gone to a show in Mansfield, Ohio. And we're driving home that night because he didn't want to spend the money on a hotel room, and that's why he's got money and I'm completely broke most of the time. We were heading back and he looks over at me and he says, "I've been thinking, would you be interested in doing a Civil War shop?" And I couldn't believe what he had just said to me because it was like a gift from heaven, because I didn't know how I was going to do it. I knew I was going to do it, but I didn't know how. And I couldn't wait until we got off at the exit to fill up with gas. I got on the payphone because I couldn't afford a cell phone or anything like that. I called and I said, "Lori, we're going to have an office." And I know it had to scare the hell out of her. We ended up being partners. Larry and I did for 10 years, and we're still friends. And that says a lot when you can be partners with somebody for 10 years and still be friends. And thank you, Larry, for all you've done to me. I appreciate you. So I get to narrow down where I'm going to do this shop at, and I'm fortunate for that. So we looked at Vicksburg, we looked at Savannah, Tennessee, near Shiloh Battlefield, and we looked at Savannah, Georgia. I grew up in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, which is only about 70 miles away from Shiloh. And I'd been there as a kid, fell in love with it, and I just like small towns and wanted to be closer to home. And her family at the time was just south of Nashville, and we could be with all of them when we needed. So I go down, and there's an old carnival right adjacent to Shiloh Battlefield. The Kaleidoscope, for those of you guys that remember it. And I go up and I meet the guy, and he thinks this kid's lost his mind. He said, "I'm going to price that where he'll never buy it." And at the time, I wasn't spending my money, so I said, "Okay." So we bought it. Larry and I bought the land. We built the shop from the ground up. It was 2,300 square feet. I'd never laid out anything in my life, and I didn't realize how big that was. And this was I was the guy that had a musket, I had a sword, and I had some metal detectors, a couple of borrowed prints to put on the wall, and some coffee mugs and stick ponies and bumper stickers. I opened up about October of 1995. I was so excited because of getting ready. I didn't have enough money for a hotel room. I slept on the floor on a blanket when I was getting the stuff together. And I was the luckiest guy in the world because I was getting to do my dream. And we opened up that first year. I did 34 shows, relic shows, gun shows, flea markets, anything I could do to try to make some money. I did that first several years. And as you see, Lori was always there working. And if you came into that shop during that time frame, you remember seeing her with Reagan on her hip because we couldn't afford daycare. And she was there supporting me constantly. And hadn't been for her, I would not be here now. 34 shows. I would come home, I would write it up, I would send out mail order catalogs, and before a show came up, I thought if I could get $300 or $400 together in my pocket, I could go anywhere in the country, and with what I wanted to do and what I could handle, I could make money, come back with more stuff, and make it work. And it did, and it wasn't easy. When we opened up that shop, it made the local newspaper, and I was so proud when that thing came out. I had to scrunch everything together because I had one musket, and our friends at Hardin County Bank in Savannah, Tennessee sent me this in 1995. They send them out to everybody that starts a new business, and they go to everybody that even fails a new business. They had one when they started. This one has meant a lot to me, and I've kept it ever since, and I feel very fortunate. We were there for 14 years. I had worked out a deal with the National Park Service through the Civil War Preservation Trust to get them the land that my shop was on because I was adjacent to the main entrance of Shiloh National Military Park. During the war, the land that I was on had been used as a temporary mass grave for some Union soldiers, so it was important land. And for those of you that donate to the Civil War Preservation Trust, they're good folks. They do what they say they're going to, and I can only speak positively about the dealings that I had with them. And that's important because a lot of times when you donate money, you don't know where it goes or how it's used. I didn't see that they didn't waste the money. They didn't give me as much as I wanted, but they gave me a fair price. And if you're going to give your money to some kind of Civil War donation, check them out. They're good people. We were there for 14 years. I ended up with a little office in Savannah because I couldn't do everything at once, and the internet had overwhelmed me. I was doing about 90% of my business online and still doing shows, had cut back several. We were in that little office for 8 years. Lori passed away 3 years ago. So I've been trying to handle things on my own, but I would not be here today if it wasn't for her. I moved to the office I'm in now, and I love it. I am so fortunate. It doesn't have a showroom. It's got some little shelves. It's got some racks. So I don't have a place for you guys to stop by and see it. I wish I did, but I don't. It's a small place. It's built like a fort. I've got cameras on everything. So don't ever think about robbing here because you'll leave feet first. But I love what I do. I love the folks that have helped me. I love my mom and dad, as you can see here. Dad was helping me move in. He was good at building stuff and I'm not. My whole family has been supportive of me since day one. There's never been a day that I didn't know I was loved. And so thank you to them. Thank you to everybody that has bought something, whether it's a bullet or a cannon. I would not be here today if it wasn't for you guys. I am so thankful for the business that I have, the friends that I have, the family that I have, the future that I have. And I just want to say thank you. I hope that you guys know that you're loved. I hope that you remember that love is the greatest gift of all. And if you get a chance to share it with somebody, whether you know them or not, just be good to people. They need it. I love y'all. I'll catch you next time. Have a good evening.